Hello everyone, it's Miss B, that's me, and today's video is about Stormy Steele, the CEO of Canvas Beauty, and Kyle Ivanko, the COO of Canvas Beauty. Kyle was fired or terminated from the company on July 22nd, 2024. I will read the very long statement that he wrote on Instagram, and you can go back and reread it at your leisure if you so choose. I may add some commentary along the way, adding my opinion and things of that nature. Please bear with me because Kyle had a lot to say regarding his time at Canvas Beauty. We have the statement from Kyle Ivanko. Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. I wanted to take a few moments to share something that has been on my mind. I'm heartbroken to share the news that I am no longer working with Stormy Steele as Canvas's Chief Operations Officer, or COO. Stormy sent me a termination notice on Friday, July 26th, stating I was terminated as of Monday, July 22nd. Let me explain. Or skip ahead to slide 6 for the summary of where things stand. Over the last 18 months, I've been working with Stormy Steele, founder and CEO of Canvas Beauty, on rebuilding the legacy of the company. When we started working together, we began marketing body glaze to the world, marking the start of a roller coaster ride of business with many ups and many downs. The challenge was extremely difficult to turn around a business in debt that was losing money monthly and that had hundreds of unfulfilled orders from 2+ months back. When I first onboarded to work on advertising, we'd get customers complaining in the ads comments pretty much immediately. I quickly saw that more than marketing help was needed for a full recovery. I rolled up my sleeves, personally sent hundreds, if not thousands, of emails to customers apologizing for the mistakes of the past, predating my time, and helping to right every wrong with limited budget and limited resources. But there was a part of the challenge that I loved. I loved helping customers get what they deserved. I loved having a part in making things right. I spent hours laying on my couch at night writing customized apology emails. And even though I had been happy working on my own marketing business I co founded, I felt the call of the wild to dive in headfirst into what would become the most challenging and rewarding project of my life. Toward the end of April 2023, Stormy and I agreed for me to come on board as a true partner, joining her as her right hand with an agreement to split equity and profits. We both saw the potential in one another, and after seeing some initial traction, saw we were a dream team that were so powerful combined. Kyle was initially hired on to handle the marketing, but once he started, Kyle was able to see the company needed more than just marketing help. So he then later became a business partner. So initially, Kyle was hired to do marketing, and eventually, he was hired on to be her business partner. That is the key thing in all of this that we all need to remember. He is an equity partner, meaning I don't know what the split is. I don't know if it's 80/20, 70/30, 60/40, 50/50, but he has just as much stake in Canvas Beauty as Stormy Steele. Even though I quickly helped the business as a whole turn profitable within just a few months, the lifestyle creep of the CEO would deplete the accounts. And just about every month that followed was gut punch after gut punch. New lawsuits from the past would pop up, debtors would circle back, and it even got to a point where our website was shut down from unpaid bills. Holding out hope and seeing the vision for success so clearly in my head, I forewent my monthly retainer and lent Stormy and the business somewhere between $30,000 to $40,000. I refused to give up after so much effort. And after more ups and more downs, around September of 2023, we finally struck big. We landed on expanding into TikTok Shop. And after some initial roadblocks, we quickly became the top selling beauty product on the platform. As the holiday season rolled around, we really moved mountains to keep up with the demand. Our $10,000 sales days turned into $100,000 sales days. We were on cloud nine, and I felt every day that it was a dream I could wake up from at any time. Even though I was doing the job of five people, the kid inside of me was beaming with pride at becoming an executive at a beauty company, and arguably the fastest growing one in the world. The holiday season was good to us, and we ended the year with a $475,000 sales day. We were beyond over the moon. As the months of 2024 progressed, the stakes became higher and higher, and the workload, of course, too. Having held on to much of the work I accumulated when funds were tight, I was doing the work of customer service, graphic and label design, marketing, inventory and supply chain management, human resources, payroll, finances, product development, business development, and vendor relations, including with our favorite partner, TikTok. But through all the hard work, we ended March with nearly 5 million in sales, quite literally about 25 times from a year prior. We were on top of the world. TikTok lives became more high stakes too. We broke records with TikTok, first becoming the first brand to sell 400,000 plus in a single live stream, and then in June becoming the first brand and Stormy the first creator to sell over a million in a single live. We did another live earlier this month in July of 2024, selling over 1.1 million worth of Canvas products in a single day. In just under a year on TikTok, we sold over $20 million worth of product. The numbers and the story were simply unbelievable. Kyle discussed the CEO's lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is defined as what happens when you start making more money and your standard of living rises along with your income. Instead of sticking to your former way of life, you begin spending more money. So, in essence, Stormy's hoodwrench mentality led to the accounts being depleted. Looking good and fronting on the gram was more important than putting the money back into her business. And why was Kyle doing the job of five people? Where is your team? Why don't you have an HR specialist? Why don't you have a payroll specialist? When you have a multi-million-dollar company, you have your team in place to handle the different areas for you. Stormy needs to stop being cheap and realize you have to spend money to make money. I followed Stormy and the team back to Alabama after the most recent live to help pack and fulfill orders. Fulfilling $1 million worth of product from a single day is no joke, let alone all the other accumulated orders that came rolling in after. During this trip, Stormy and I had some business disagreements, but nothing out of the ordinary, and certainly nothing extreme, especially for two executives of the fastest growing beauty company. We hugged it out after every disagreement and continually referenced our yin and yang mantra, a reminder that we're different but perfect complements for one another. I left to go home in California on Tuesday, July 16th. After a few days working back at home, the relationship was business as usual until Thursday, July 18th. Stormy had talked to me about wanting to get a business valuation, a 409A. I agreed, of course, wanting to know how much value we've created in the last year. I reminded Stormy about the importance of keeping books clean and was immediately met with rage, like the switch flipped. Rage that I hadn't been reminding her to do certain things she said she would. Rage I hadn't hired a CFO. Rage that I was pushing back on some personnel hiring decisions Stormy was suggesting. She immediately asked for a full list of everything I do, and in the same breath accused me of intentionally doing so much to try to make myself irreplaceable and in an effort to hurt the business. I was dumbfounded at the accusations, obliged to providing the list of duties, of course, because as I always would follow the directions of my CEO and business partner. I also included every one of my contacts, vendors, and everyone that would be helpful should I, God forbid, be hit by a bus. The next day, on Friday, July 19th, I called Stormy asking to get clarity about my roles and responsibilities going forward, as she had the prior day said she was stripping me of some of my usual duties, like payroll that I had been managing for about a year and was already in the process of handing off to a colleague. During this phone call, when I mentioned that I sent a full list of everything I do in my contacts should she need to replace me, she panicked and kept insisting that I was quitting and resigning. I denied this several times, saying over and over I wasn't quitting and I was not resigning. But Stormy replied with many hurtful things, including that out of all the people she had ever worked with, including those that stole from her, that I was the worst of them all. This stung. She told me, "We're done," over and over, and to talk to my lawyer. We said bye and hung up. Why is the COO, who has like five jobs, having to fly back to Alabama to pack orders in the warehouse? Why would Kyle need to remind Stormy about the importance of clean books? What had he discovered previously that would make this be something that he would need to discuss with Stormy? In my opinion, Kyle may have discovered that Stormy, she had some funny books. She had some funny bookkeeping. In that if they were to elevate as a company, that everything would need to be above board. Kyle says that he was met with a rage he'd never seen before, and I want to know, was it the same type of rage Miss Black Titanic was met with? Kyle wasn't catching the subtle clues Stormy was giving along the way. She started moving funny, and he should have seen the writing on the wall, but for some reason he didn't. She called me back about an hour later. I asked to record the conversation, and the conclusion of the call was that we would cool off, enjoy the weekend to come, and talk again on Sunday. She kept insisting I tell her what my handoff plan would be, but I was explaining my head was still spinning at the idea of leaving the company I had dedicated my life to over the last year and a half. We ended the call on good terms and wished each other a happy weekend. Not even a few hours after the call, Stormy had started to inform our vendors, namely TikTok, that she would need to be included in conversations going forward. The next day on Saturday morning, I woke up having been locked out of my work email and thus nearly everything I've worked on for the past year and a half, including my personal financial expense spreadsheet. On Sunday, when Stormy reached out about time to talk on the phone, I told her my head was still spinning and that locking me out of my email and contacting TikTok on Friday evening right after our conversation about cooling off really violated my trust. Sensing tensions were still high, I said I would be taking a leave of absence starting Monday, July 22nd, having never taken a true day off in the last 18 months since we started working together. I reaffirmed my belief in her and my wish for the success of the company, regardless of if she chose to have me back. She said she'd reach out later in the week. On Tuesday, July 23rd, her lawyer reached out to me asking for a phone call to discuss Stormy and I parting ways, which was news to me. After explaining the situation of the last few days, how that officially parting ways was news to me, and how I didn't feel comfortable talking to her legal team without representation of my own, I didn't hear anything from them until Friday, July 26th. When fi- when Friday rolled around at the end of the day around 5 p.m. my time, I received an email from Stormy indicating that I had been terminated as of Monday, July 22nd, on the day that I had taken my leave of absence. In this same email, Stormy included a separation agreement that meant I'd sign away any claims I have for my share of unpaid profits, up to seven figures, any claims I have for ownership or equity, and my ability to speak openly about my experience working with Stormy and Canvas. Additionally, there was a portion of that agreement saying I could not work in the beauty products industry for 24 months, among many other things that could limit my career, all in exchange for 1 month's pay. At this point in time, I'm heartbroken to have ousted by the person I have just short of dedicated my life to over this past year and a half. After all the sleepless nights, all the collaboration, all of the work, effort, and strategy that has gone into creating one of the most successful beauty brands of all time. To be pushed out over something so minute shortly after discussing that the company could possibly be worth nine figures. It's so bizarre to me. Someone who I would have arguably called my best friend, someone who openly shared every detail of her life with me, someone who called me an uncle to her son, someone who asked me for my advice on family matters, and who I talked to several times a day, just about every single day over the last 18 months, to push me out over something so minor. I am sad to share that I have retained legal counsel, and while I hope for an amicable resolution, I will utilize every legal avenue available to me. All that I'm asking for is what was promised to me, because I strongly feel, as she put it in her own words the night of the Valentine's Day gala, that I really did turn everything around. Thanks for reading. Sincerely, Kyle Ivanko. The first mistake Kyle made was thinking of Stormy as a friend or even a best friend. She's not your friend, she's your business partner. Different, difference, difference. She's not your friend, she is your business partner. But what Kyle doesn't know or understand is that Stormy is a social climber and she loves to use people up. And after she gets what she wants, she moves on to the next person or thing. Look how Stormy did Melody Cherie. She used her to get on the show. Once her spot was secured, she stopped dealing with Melody. And in your case, Kyle, once you mentioned those books, that started piquing Stormy's interest because she knew you might have seen or been aware of some things that maybe she didn't want you to know about the business.